Hello and welcome again to Silver Gold TV, your one place for all silver and gold related news. Guys, I got a amazing video for you guys today. It really had to think long and hard whether or not I was ready to make this kind of video, whether or not people are willing to understand or hear something like this. This is how to achieve your highest potential. It's a very simple thing. Um, I heard this for the first time. It was told to me. I'm giving you a little backstory. It was told to me by a very wealthy um, person that I met. I was at the time I was 14, 15 years old. I am now almost. I am now a lot older than that, and it stuck with me because for some reason, since I was a little kid, I always wanted to become to do great things. Since I was a child, I always wanted to be very wealthy, be very have a lot of stuff. It was just a goal of mine. So when I had an opportunity to approach a guy that was all that at the time, everything that I wish I could become at some point, I asked him how did he achieve greatness? How did he achieve all that he has? Now consider that different from how did you become wealthy. Consider that different from how did you make a lot of money. Consider that different from all the other typical questions that you would ask rich entrepreneurs or that you would ask wealthy people. Basically, my question was, how did you achieve greatness? So at that point, I'm letting this person know, and I was only 14 at the time, 14, 15, but I'm letting this person know that in my eyes, they were all that I wish I could at some point aspire to be or become. And he gave me his truth that at the time, again, I was not ready. I was not ready to hear. But he said very plain and simply that to achieve your greatest potential, you have to get rid of three things in life. And believe you me, for the longest time, I tried to disprove him. I was willing to give up two of those three things, which I will mention to you, and this is what's gold. This is gold. This is gold advice. This is something that I've not seen yet on a YouTube video anywhere else. I'm not sure if he came up with this or maybe it was taught to him by someone else that he asked, or maybe his mom, his father, or father's father. For all I know, I have no idea. But he said you have to get rid of three things to reach your highest potential. And those three things sound basic and sound simple. And for the longest time, I am now in my 30s, early 30s, and just now realized how bad and ignorant of me it was to hear this from the horse's mouth and still try to go against it and try to hold on to one of those three things. And it cost me dearly. It cost me pain, tears. It cost me financially. It cost me a lot more than I'm willing to share on a video like this. But believe you me, it was something that I wanted to disprove them. Okay, so let's cut to the chase. The three things, according to this man. Well, hold on. Before we get to those things, again, we are talking to reach your highest potential, right? We're not saying you cannot be successful if you hold on to one of these three things. We're not saying you cannot be very wealthy, very successful. I'm not saying that you won't achieve greatness. I'm saying that you can only achieve your highest potential once you get rid of these three things. And I proved that part to myself in the worst way possible because I tried to hold on to one of these three things and it cost me dearly. But it doesn't mean that I did not achieve great things and that I have not achieved great things. Just so you know, I am a silver stacker. I also have gold. I have properties. I rent out properties to people. I have land. I have a lot of things to my name. I have cash on the side. So I believe in the eyes of my peers that I know that are actually entrepreneurs themselves, they have let me know that I am well off. Um, but I am nowhere near where I want to be. That's a fact. I want a lot more in life. So here are those three things. And once I mention these three things, it would take me a very long time to explain why you got to get rid of each of these three things. But what I will explain in this video, and if you have questions on why each and one of these three things, and the reasons why you have to get rid of them to achieve your greatest potential, I could make a video on that, or we could chat on the comment section. But this is my transformation. I have achieved all this that I've talking to you about, but I just recently had to get rid of the last of the three things that I was unwilling to let go of, and it cost me dearly. I will let you know what it was. I'll let you know what the three things are right now. So, cutting to the chase. This man told me that there's three things you have to get rid of in life to reach your highest potential. Number one, religion. You must get rid of religion for many reasons. And in America, for a lot of people, I'm sure that's an easy one because there's a lot of atheists in America, and there's a lot of enlightened movements and New Age. So that's not a problem for me. That one was not a problem either. Number two is friends. Friends. You're like, but friends are good. Only depending on what friends you have. I'm sure you've all heard that you're the average of the five people you hang out with. So, do you really consider that your particular friends now are making you progress or making you setback? For me, being a overly analytical young guy with great aspirations in life, it was not hard for me to not have friends around me, as you could imagine. So those two things, for me, being a very analytical person and logic seeker and a person that wants great things, those are the simple ones to get rid of. Unfortunately for me, the third one, it was the very difficult one, and just recently I had to let it go finally because it cost me too much. But I wanted to prove this guy wrong because the third thing that he said that we must get rid of to reach our highest potential is family. I grew up being taught that family was a unit. I got taught by my mom and my father that all my siblings and me were equals. I got taught that we grow together. I got taught that we look out for one another. I got taught that we look out for one another. And the amazing thing for me, or the shock that came to me, is that when one of my siblings was down and out, He got hurt at work, and we all know that story. You know, you get injured at work, and shit sucks. I was there for him. I was there for him. I told him he could take off as long as he wants. No pressure. I would take care of the bills. I would take care of everything, and we would be good. With that same sibling, we bought a house together, and this was years ago. So it was years ago, maybe 4 or 5, forget, years ago. And recently, there's other videos that explain why I stopped making videos for a while, because I went through some stuff with COVID, and everything got shaken up in my personal life. But basically, with my relentless desire to prove him wrong, that I could achieve my highest potential, and it was an ignorant position for me to even hold, that I could achieve my highest potential while holding on to family, was very ignorant of myself, because for the longest time now, I've been trying to help them help themselves, because I want them to progress so that I would progress, so that we would progress. But apparently that wasn't the case anymore. And when tragedy came knocking on my door, and I got injured at work, and I did not expect the same reaction that I had when my sibling got hurt, but I did expect at least some sort of support. On the other hand, he took advantage of the situation and said that the house we bought together is now his. Unfortunately for me, thinking that we were family, thinking that you could trust family, thinking that a brother would not backstab you in the back, I did not put my name on the mortgage agreement. It was only his name. So legally, I couldn't do anything. So it is his house legally, unfortunately, or fortunate for him, I guess. It is what it is. That's what life is. So it was, you could imagine how difficult it was for me to finally accept that even though I have reached greatness in my life, I have done great things, and I've continued to do great things, and I still doing great things. I have to admit that if I were to have cut him off, just like this guy said, that you have to cut off family, you have to get rid of family, he wouldn't have backstabbed me the way he did. He wouldn't have done everything he did, you know? Therefore, it cost me financially, emotionally, and years of time trying to work and plan and grow things together. It was just beyond any measure. A very wise man once said, and now I understand. Sucks that we have to go through shit to understand what people mean. But if someone does not want to grow, if someone does not want to make something out of themselves, you could beg, you could pray, you could pull them to the water, you could do as much as you can humanly do, and you cannot help what does not want to get helped, especially when they don't realize that they need help. So, and the opposite is not the same. I know for a fact that I have not taken decisions in the past when I was still, well, before I cut off family, that would have been even more profitable than the things that I've done now, up to now. But I did not do them just to not leave them behind. How ignorant and how stupid of an idea that was. And I know it sounds stupid and ignorant now, but amazingly, um, it's not as easy as you would think. Not when you grow up, can't say brainwashed, but you grow up with an ideology that's very well engraved in you by your by the people that you admire at the time. That would be my mom, my dad. So if you look up to people and they tell you life is a certain way, even though it's a lie, even though they probably don't know it's a lie, even though it might have been well intentioned, that's why you have to grow, think for yourself, question everything, and it is hard for me to say these three things. So to recap, the three things you must get rid of to reach your highest potential. Again, I'm not saying you cannot be successful. You could be a trillionaire. You could have all the women in the world or all the men in the world, whatever you like. Or you could be the richest and most famous person in the world. Yeah, and if you hold on to any of these three things, and you achieve that, just imagine how much more you would be if you didn't have family slowing you down, if you didn't have a religious doctrine slowing you down, and if you didn't have friends slowing you down. All of these things are things that weigh and bear on us, and if they're not there to support you, then they should not be there. Simple as that. And most of the time, these three things, I proved it the hard way. They must go. It's a must. The longer you hold on to them, the more painful, economically, um, psychologically, and emotionally it will be. It could be earth shattering. I mean, let's say the hardest one for you to get rid of is faith or religion. A lot of people have their bases so solid in their doctrine that when you rupture that or you make holes in that, um, they could go into depression. They could seriously go into some serious existential, existing questioning, and it could be very dark. But no one thing, you gotta cross that abyss. That abyss has to be crossed. Once you cross that abyss, ain't nothing could touch you. Once you cross that dark abyss, and you get rid of these three things, those three things are on the other side of the abyss. And they cannot get to you because they, unlike you, are not willing to cross the abyss. And if they ever did cross the abyss, then you would know that they are strong enough, smart enough to be on their own. So even then, they shouldn't really be with you because they are now their own individual person. Nietzsche once said, the evolution of man is stuck until man decides to take responsibility for their own actions. And until man does that, man will not evolve from our current state. Because as long as man has an excuse to blame their circumstances on anything other than themselves, and that includes faith, that includes friends, and that includes family. Once you get rid of all these things and you take responsibility for where you are in life, then there's no one to blame but yourself. And once there's no one to blame but yourself, then you could actually change and do the proper things that you must do to rectify whatever needs to get rectified. Because if, like, let's say something, you're in a place in your life that you don't want to be, but instead of looking inward for the solution, which is the only thing you can really change yourself, you look outward and you say, "Oh, it's because my brothers, or it's because my sisters, or it's because of my doctrine, or it's because of my friends." Then you will never go past the if part of the situation. You'll never get over it because you will never see, you're never willing to face your demons, cross that abyss, and become a better man or a better woman. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm telling you, it is very difficult. And in my early 30s, getting rid of that last part of the tripod was so difficult so hard that some people could say that it's like I said, if you're so solid with something and it gets cracked and it gets destroyed, and you consider that a strong base for your self image, you have an existential crisis, and that leads to a lot of things that I'm sure you're all aware. And I'm telling you, it's not easy. But if and only if you are strong enough and willing and brave enough to know your highest potential and to try to achieve your highest potential, then these three things are a must. I'm trying to I'm trying to make this video not a downer, but more of an inspirational. But hey, sometimes reality is just reality is reality, you know? It doesn't cater to us. It is what it is. And sometimes the abyss will be there on the abyss will wait for you to cross it whenever you're ready. It will not bother you until you choose to cross it. But the longer you take to cross that abyss, the longer and the more difficult that journey will be. And it's kind of like it's funny, but it's kind of like when like the Neo and the Matrix type thing. When you get to a certain age, you're just so resilient to change. You're just so indoctrinated to how things are supposed to be that you refuse and you fight reality. Even if reality was in front of you, you refuse to believe and accept what it is. And believe you me, that was me when it came to the third situation. Many times did I notice what was going on and I said, "Oh, this isn't right." And I gave excuses. Many times did I notice what was going on and I gave excuses and I gave excuses until I finally decided to pull the plug. So, guys, gals out there, this video is gold. Or go ahead and discard it, and that's all right. I'm just letting myself know where I am in life because I see my own videos and my videos are more of a documentary type situation. I give information about general news and stuff, but eventually what I want my videos to be is something of an educational documentary growth of an individual that goes from being in poverty to being somebody. And eventually, if I get there, that'll be great. And if I don't, at least it will be something that I could leave to my kin, my daughter, and she would be able to see a lot of things that at different parts in her life she would be able to understand in different ways. So, if anything, I've always been a big picture guy, and sometimes I look at the big picture more than I should, but that's just who I am. So, power to you, people. Power to you, man. Enjoy life. Life is beautiful. We must learn how to live life. Life is amazing, but we got to do our part. Peace out. Like, share, subscribe. Again, this is Silver Gold TV, your one place for all silver and gold related news. And out.